Malea to Itaiwai. Hi everyone, happy Monday. As of today, the United States has had another day in its 11th government shutdown, now the second longest in American history, lasting 33 days. But if the shutdown continues through Thursday, it will become the longest government shutdown the U.S. has ever seen. All across the Indian country, the effects are immediate and devastating. Food lines are growing, social workers are unpaid, tribal families who rely on federal programs like SNAP and LIHEAP are now facing empty shelves and cold nights. In this report, we examine how Native nations from the Cherokee and Shawnee in the east to the Pascua Yaqui in the southwest are being forced to step in where federal government has failed. This is Tribal Nations Left to Feed Themselves, how the U.S. government shutdown is endangering Native families, and how the Pascua Yaqui Tribe is fighting back. A daily crisis in Indian country. Across Indian country, food lines are lengthening, social service offices are going dark, and community workers are going unpaid. As the current U.S. government shutdown stretches into its second month, the second longest in American history, tribal nations are carrying the weight of Washington's dysfunction. Every day without funding stretches social workers and law enforcement thin, putting vulnerable children in danger, said Marissa Cummings, citizen of the Omaha Tribe in Nebraska, with the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, and Head Start and Women and Infants and Children, WIC, subsidies all frozen. Millions of families are in limbo. Tribal communities, where 25 to 80% of citizens depend on federal food or energy programs, are among the hardest hit. From northern Michigan to the Sonoran Desert, leaders are issuing emergency declarations, opening food banks, and pleading with Congress to honor treaty obligations that have once again been ignored. This isn't a partisan fight, it's survival. At a Senate Committee on Indian Affairs hearing last week, Carrie Bird, president of the National Indian Education Association, delivered a stark warning. The shutdown reductions in force have crept into our classrooms, our early childhood programs, and our homes. What began as a budget dispute in Washington has become a daily crisis in Indian country. 7 of 9 employees in the Office of Indian Education have been laid off, leaving no staff to process grants or approve budgets. For tribal schools that depend on those funds, this could mean canceled programs, teacher layoffs, and delayed accreditation. Senator Lisa Murkowski, the only Republican who attended the hearing, acknowledged the scale of the harm. The loss of employees with deep institutional knowledge weakens the effectiveness of crucial federal programs for Native families. This is about food and fuel. Uh, this is about food and fuel, about whether they make it through the winter. Senator Brian Schatz added that the shutdown doesn't suspend the federal government's legal duties. When the federal government shuts down, our trust and treaty obligations do not vanish, they are put at risk. Nationwide fallout, program frozen, and lives on hold across the United States. SNAP benefits have been delayed for November 1st issuance, affecting millions of households, including tens of thousands of Native families. WIC clinics in several states are preparing for temporary closures. LIHEAP funding has been halted just as sub-freezing temperatures arrive, and Head Start programs that serve Native children are depending on emergency tribal funding. In Michigan, the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians anticipates 30 to 40% increase in demand for its food commodities program. We're going to run out of food, said Councilmember Aaron Payment. Their federal heating aid has been slashed to one-third of its usual level, leaving more than 300 families without winter heat. In Oklahoma, Chief Ben Barnes of the Shawnee Tribe declared a state of emergency after nearly 800 families lost SNAP benefits. What concerns me the most is the little kids going without meals, Barnes said. People may have to forego eating just to make ends meet. Cherokee Nation has diverted $4.5 million from its own budget to supplement food assistance for citizens across its reservation and near urban areas. The private sector can only do so much, Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin Jr. said. Congress needs to get its act together, but until then, we'll act locally. Washington State. A case study in dependency and delay, according to Senator Maria Cantwell. More than 51,000 American Indian and Alaska Native individuals in Washington rely on SNAP. Over 6,000 tribal families use WIC, and 19 tribes received $2.6 million in LIHEAP energy funding. Cantwell's office reported that reducing or delaying this aid jeopardizes basic survival. The United States has a trust responsibility to live up to, legal obligations made to tribes. Reducing this assistance represents another shameful chapter in the federal government's long history of broken promises to Indian country. A double whammy. Compounding harm, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, who voted for a temporary stopgap resolution, told CNN that this shutdown could be more harmful than any before. Because of the layoffs and the lack of federal workforce, tribes are already being hit hard. Now, without SNAP or LIHEAP, it's a double whammy. Across Indian country, layoffs have removed the very federal workers who coordinate with tribes, and agencies like the Bureau of Indian Affairs, BIA, or Bureau of Indian Education, BIE, more than one-third of employees have been furloughed. Structural injustice and the discretionary trap. Researchers Robert Maxime, Liz Malherba, Glenn Cora Haskins, and Danica Greaser at the Brookings Institution have traced the problem to the structure of the federal budget itself. Roughly 69% of all Indian country is discretionary, subject to yearly budget battles and shutdowns. The result, even without political chaos, the United States routinely underfunds its treaty obligations. Indian Health Service, IHS, receives about $7 billion, though experts say it needs $73 billion. BIA needs $3.5 billion just for public safety, almost double its current budget. When Congress halts spending, these life or death services stop instantly. Local action, the Pascua Yaqui Tribe steps up. While federal officers shudder, the Pascua Yaqui Tribe in southern Arizona has launched one of the most organized tribal responses in the country. Through a coordinated effort by the Office of the Chairman and Tribal Council, a series of memoranda and public service announcements were issued between October 30th and November 3rd, 2025, outlining emergency measures to protect tribal citizens. First, food distribution centers. Food distributions for SNAP families are held at Victor Flores Gym in New Pascua at 4821 West Calle Vicam, Tucson. New Health Building, Guadalupe, 6725 South Priest Drive, Guadalupe. Families are served according to last name, categories A through F, ensuring fair and orderly access. Hours run from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. with additional rounds planned weekly until federal funding resumes. SNAP Resource Online, a dedicated hotline, 520-879-5432. Is open Tuesday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tribal members can check benefit status, access updates, or receive referrals to local food pantries, faith-based groups, and emergency resources. Members can also text PYTSNAP in all caps to 888-777 for alerts. Self-identification form and membership portal. A new online self-identification form in the Pascua Yaqui Tribal Membership Portal allows recipients to self-report SNAP disruption so departments can deliver targeted support. The portal, pascuayaqui-nsn.gov/MP, also provides access to official announcements, department contacts, and benefits updates. Education Division and Head Start support. In an October 31st memorandum, Chairman Julian Hernandez assured that the Iliusim Matawaapo Head Start program would continue operations without interruption. There will be no changes or interruptions to your children's classroom schedules, learning activities, or family services, the memo reads. To assist working parents, the tribe scheduled food box distributions after school on November 5th and November 13th. Coordination with regional food banks, the tribe partnered with organizations across Pima, Pinal, and Maricopa counties to expand food access. Community Food Bank of Southern Arizona, Interfaith Community Services, Tucson Food Share, South Tucson Community Outreach, Hope International Food Pantry, Desert Rock Food Bank, Town of Guadalupe Community Action Program. QR codes on official notes link residents directly to updated distribution times and online sign-up forms. Through these layered systems, community-based yet data-driven, the Pascua Yaqui Tribe has proven that tribal governance can act faster and more compassionately than the federal agencies charged with serving it. Faith, resilience, and responsibility, and letters to the community tribal offices opened with the greeting, May God bless you, how are you? The small gesture of cultural continuity underscores what is at stake. While Washington debates ideology, Native families are going to preserve dignity, nourishment, and spiritual strength. The Pascua Yaqui Tribe's actions echo the words of Chairman Bobby Gonzalez of the Caddo Nation. We're tribal nations. There's treaties and trust responsibilities that the United States government has, regardless if you're shut down, regardless of who the president is. Mandatory funding the path forward. Advocates are renewing calls to make all tribal programs from healthcare to housing mandatory spending, insulated from shutdowns and political stalemates. The Brookings Institution recommends phased reform, first expand advanced appropriations for the Indian Health Service, BIA and BIE, then convert all treaty-based programs to mandatory status. Until Congress acts, tribes like the Pascua Yaqui will continue to shoulder the burden alone, diverting limited revenue from education, public safety, and infrastructure to feed families the United States promised never to abandon. A trust deferred. The 2025 shutdown exposes a painful truth. Federal promises to indigenous nations are still conditional, still political, and still fragile. Yet, across the continent, Native nations Yaqui, Cherokee, Shawnee, Tulalip, Salut, Ste. Marie are proving what sovereignty truly means, the ability to protect your people when others will not. Federal funding programs are a fixture of tribal communities due to remoteness and lack of infrastructure, wrote Janie Sims Hip, CEO of the Native American Agriculture Fund. But this is not charity, it's treaty obligation. Our ancestors paid for these promises. As the Pascua Yaqui Tribe opens gym doors to distribute food and teachers hand out boxes to parents after school, one message rings clear through every announcement and every act of solidarity. We will not let our people go hungry, even when the government forgets its word. The 2025 government shutdown has revealed a painful truth that treaty promises are still vulnerable to politics while Washington debates Native nations. Act in New Pascua and Guadalupe, the Pascua Yaqui Tribe opens its gym and health center to feed families. In Oklahoma, the Shawnee Tribe declares a state of emergency. Across the country, tribal leaders remind America that treaty rights are not optional, they are the law. Until the United States government honors that truth, indigenous nations will continue to carry out the work it should have done, feeding people, protecting the land, and keeping the sacred promise of survival. Thank you for listening to the audio form and visual form of Itom Jiawai reports. We truly appreciate you, and we send our love and prayers to all across Indian country. I'll see you next time.